from my point of view. Tonight, and I say tonight because it's almost my bedtime, I'm standing here in my PJs. Tonight we are making Italian Parmesan Croutons, and the reason I decided to make these about bedtime is I was getting ready to go to bed and I noticed we have a loaf of bread about ready to go bad, and I thought I don't want that to go to waste, so I just decided to do a quick shot video. So this is going to be quick shot number 3. Let's get started. Alright, I got our ingredients laid out, so let's take a quick look at what we're doing. Of course, we're going to use bread, and this is the real high quality poppin' fresh bread out of the can that we had laying here, and I just didn't want it to, starting to get a little hard, so we're going to use that. Fresh Parmesan, olive oil, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. What we're going to use is a teaspoon and a half of the salt, about a teaspoon of pepper, teaspoon of powder or garlic powder, and a teaspoon of our Italian seasoning. We're going to mix all that up, sprinkle it on our bread, drizzle over a little bit of olive oil, finish with some Parmesan, then we're going to bake it for 10 minutes at 425. So let's get started. So we're going to measure out a teaspoon and a half of our salt into a mixing bowl, a teaspoon of our garlic powder, and a teaspoon of our Italian seasoning, and pepper. We'll mix this up and just set it aside for when needed. Now we have our seasonings done and we're ready to cut up our bread. Next we're going to cut up our bread. I like to use a smaller cutting board just so I don't scratch up my big cutting board. That's really just me being a spaz. You're going to cut these into almost 1 inch thick chunks. 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch will be fine. Bigger or smaller, that's alright. Remember, our motto, if you cut something wrong, we just call it rustic. So then we'll take our bread and chunk it up like so. Go ahead and use your heels. Don't throw those out. Not the heels on your feet, but the heels of your bread. Now have a pan with parchment paper and transfer your croutons. Make sure your spices are well mixed up and sprinkle over your bread. Sprinkle generously. It may seem like a lot of seasoning, so it looks like we have enough. Drizzle lightly, about 2 tablespoons olive oil. Don't worry about it getting on your parchment paper. We're going to toss these. So take your hands and just toss your croutons. Try to get all the sides coated with seasoning and olive oil. So really smear them around on the paper. These seem a little dry. We're going to add a little bit more olive oil. You don't want them drenched, but you just want to make sure that the olive oil lightly coats your croutons and adheres the seasoning to them as well. Get them even on your pan. Then we're going to pop them in the oven for 10 minutes at 425. Set our timer and wash our hands. Now, find a way to entertain yourself for 10 minutes. All right, let's check on our croutons real quick. They are not quite done yet, so we're going to put them in for about another 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, our croutons have about 5 seconds left, so it's like the big countdown instead of the ball dropping. It's your croutons finishing. So, turn off our oven, check our croutons. Oh yeah, our croutons are definitely done. Look at the brownness on them. Now, it's really important, while they're still hot, put them down quick because it burns through the gloves, and also apply your Parmesan while they're still hot. Now, some folks will actually put the Parmesan on before they bake them, and they're good that way. You can also do it after, like we're doing here. These croutons are going to be really good on the ribollita, see episode 1, or on that spinach and arugula salad. I believe it was episode 9 or 10, can't really remember. We're going to apply a liberal amount of our Parmesan. Our croutons are done, and quite honestly, I really didn't think this through real well because it's 10 o'clock at night. I have a pan of croutons and nothing to go with it. I really just did this because I didn't want the bread to go to waste. So we do need to try one now. One thing too is when I bake these, there are a few croutons, they really need to be in a single layer. So there were a few that were hiding down under that weren't quite so done, so get rid of those. So, let these cool, stick them in a storage bag, a Ziploc bag. They're going to keep for about 2 weeks because we pretty much baked all the moisture out of them, or most of it anyway. Let's give one of these a try. I would try to eat them with my tongs, my Star Wars tongs, but it's probably not going to be a good idea. So I'm going to take a small one. That crunchy. They're good. They're seasoned real well. Perfect on a salad. The spinach arugula salad. These would be absolutely great. We make these and put these over our ribollita. So, thanks for watching POV Italian. Make this when it makes sense, not at 10 o'clock at night. Click subscribe. Keep an eye on our YouTube page. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Just search for POV Italian on all those sites. Or POV Italian Cooking. Thanks for watching and ciao.